Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in and check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here in my lab where I do what I do for you. Oh, I'm in the book. We doing the tree of life. We're going to climb this tree into enlightenment. That's the concept. But there's a whole bunch of little intricate parts that we're going to work on. So I'm about to break it down for you. This is the mysteries of the Anuian theurgy. Theurgy is the study of gods. Okay, let's rock. Rightism. 25 roots and then by storytelling, story with a message. There's always a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in and receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinker's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline, practice daily, will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I ask the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through. That's what I do for you. It's rhetorical, but if you know how to answer it for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself and to my eye be true. We doing it forward in the book. I broke down the tree. We just did the tree motif. Now I'm gonna break down the Kabbalah system according against our tree, Egyptian tree of life. This is the concept they call seraphs. This is the Kabbalah, their concept of the tree of life, and it makes a lot of sense. Perfect understanding breakdown of what they do. Judaism. This is the Egyptian tree of life. I've been teaching y'all this since the beginning. This is the spinoff from this, and I don't have a problem with that, and they don't have a problem with it. Why? It works for them. That's why. All right, so let's talk about it. I'll get to that in 1 minute. So let's start out here at the forward. This book, and I'm gonna go through the whole book pretty much. So be ready. I'm gonna interject every now and then my own, but pretty much this where I am for a minute. All right. So this book is all about the ancient Egyptian concept of what we call the tree divinities and the unique philosophy of the tree of life spiritual system. Pay attention. For promoting spiritual evolution to enable human beings to attain spiritual enlightenment. That's the goal for right thinking philosophy. I got it from these guys. That's what I learned. That's what I'm doing. I'm using them to guide us along. Let's go. That's where I got it from. I ain't got to deviate. But we need to clarify that the tree of life, that is the subject of this book. Again, tree of life, the tree motif. And from ancient Egyptian religious concept, and it is not associated with Judaism or the Kabbalah. Period. Point blank. Rather, there is some evidence that these religious systems may have taken some elements from the ancient Egyptian tradition, or what we know as the Anuian theology, from the city of Anu, meaning the first place. That's where the first religious philosophical concept started, in Anu with Ra, okay? Him being the god, Amun Ra Ptah, he was the god there, Amun was the god in Waset, and Ptah the god in Memphis. So they all had an understanding. But the theurgy, here you go, the theurgy spelled Theurgy. In order to develop any religious system, theurgy is used. Here refers to the practice of ancient Egyptian religion, including its what? Sabbat. That means the philosophy. Priestly discipline. Somebody was teaching the rituals to obtain wisdom from the teachings. metaphysics, and hieroglyphic texts, and even architecture related to this process of what we know. I told you, right thinking is the spinoff from Shitat Netta. It means the hidden mysteries of the ancient Egyptian god religious concept. Anuian theurgy emerged, listen, here's the date, at least 4,000 years before the supposed date of any existence of this God or the leader of the Jewish community, Abraham. Pay attention. Dr. Ben taught me this. The reputed founder of Judaism, Abraham. Moses has got the Christians. And at least 4,500 years prior to the earliest evidence of earliest known text of any Jewish Bible. Torah, Quran, First Testament, Old Testament, I don't get what you call it, okay? We was way ahead of them. So therefore, the tree of life of the Anuian theurgy is a far more ancient, older teaching, and it offers insight into the nature of the tree of life mythology. It's something you can learn. For all mythologists, metaphysicians, and religious studies proponents, meaning you got this philosophy from somewhere. I knew your philosophy, where they got it from, out of Egypt, okay? But due to the factor of the greater notoriety about the Kabbalistic tree of life, it has been thought useful to add a further section to break down this concept and to discuss the concept of the Kabbalistic tradition. I'm about to do that. And it's based on Jews' teachings and a brief comparative look at it and the ancient Egyptian teachings for those who have some familiarity with the Jewish system, tradition, Kabbalah. In this way, the rest of this book, which details a Kemetic tradition of the tree of life, spiritual system, exclusively, will be delineated, and the special unique insights in it will be clearer and distinguished and easier to understand and digest and practice if you choose to. You don't have to stop doing nothing. You have to change nothing. Just implement its philosophy in your lifestyle and you can do it on any level. But let's talk about Kabbalism compared to the ancient Egypt and the mysticism of what we know to be the tree of life. The Kabbalah, spelled Kabbala, or the Cabalah. So they can, spell it, ain't no big deal. It's okay. So, and it is regarded as a form of Jewish mysticism. It didn't say religion. Jewish mysticism. They practice a mysticism, a mystic concept of God. They not all crazy and beat it. No, they real down to earth and smooth with what they do. I got nothing but respect for them. Why? They got a system that they follow, a tradition that they uphold amongst themselves. I got no problem with that. Which is officially, and one thing about a Jew, they're not dumb. They're not ignorant by no stretch. They are educated in their ways. I give them that. Moving on. I ain't going no further. Let's go. But which officially said to have originated in what? The 12th century ACE. This is way after us. Okay, understand that. So, moving on. This date closely followed what they called at that time the Crusades. And it is possible that the opening up of the European society, who wanted everything their way, the white man, due to the foreign wars. Every war that's been fought was over God. My God against your God. Okay? And it allowed the stagnant living conditions of what they called back then in Europe, the Dark and Middle Ages in Europe. And to give way to a more mystical interpretation of the Jewish scripture, Kabbalism is considered a way of approaching and getting to God. Really, Yeah, not with a whole bunch of fanaticism and nonsense, okay? They live a very discreet, traditional life, which I got respect for. And they have their own approach to getting to God, and they do it their way. Then directly is opposed to through what? The temple. The concept was that through the acquisition of special, hidden, secret knowledge of the divine revelation, an aspirant, a student, a right thinker can achieve divine communion. All religions is supposed to get you to God, okay? But we have specific ways in teaching the lesson. The Jews said, we'll take Yahweh and everything that pertains to him. They've been fine ever since. And the major text on the Kabbalism of the time was what they called the Book of Brightness. They called out the book of coming forth by day. Pay attention. Which came out in the, again, 12th century CE. This book contained ideas about transmigration of the soul, the same thing that the Egyptians were teaching, and other ideas that were at that time alien to the Orthodox Judaism, echoing the ancient Egyptian mystical system. Hello. So the Kabbalists expressed a great interest in mysticism and cosmology. Kabbalists believe that the Jewish scripture, the Torah, ding, 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 contains what? The same knowledge of the creation if every word is interpreted according to the precise fixed principles, aka Mayat, and the daily meditations upon these principles would lead to one have a state of mind wherein the meditator, you, would now attain what we call cosmic inner vision, third eye vision of what? The divine, the self. So the Kabbalisms also contain elements and Messianism, and was later influenced by the Hasidism, the Hasidic Jews. They had a philosophy that they practiced and it worked for them. It still is. They ain't changed a bit. Not one thing. And we've been beat. I watch y'all beat them down and beat them down. They don't even flinch. But y'all want to be like them. Y'all got Christ going through all hell. But nah, ain't nobody been more worse than them. Okay? So stop with, we number one. No, stop that. It ain't a competition. Okay? It's a way of life for people who want to practice it to have their own way to live. And the Jews are doing just fine. We got issue with them. That ain't my issue, not mine. They do. All right? So they're showing you. The Hasidism is a partially, mystical movement which separated from Judaism. The Hasidic Jews, the Orthodox, the Hasidic, they got two different philosophies. They're Jews, okay? Christians, Protestants, all that nonsense. Y'all all practice the same thing, but y'all have different views, so y'all split off. I get all of that. Moving on. But it first appeared when? Sometime during the 18th century. Hold up, wait a minute. Moving on. AC in Poland, okay? Partly revivalists, and partly reformists. It is considered as a reaction that went against the rigid and the logistic Jewish orthodoxy. They didn't like the way y'all were doing things. Obvious that. So it was founded by an Israel by the name of Ben Elijah. Like the philosophy of the Kabbalists, he emphasized what? Direct communion with God and awareness of oneself and his presence that's in all creation. So that Egyptian concept, but in his Hasidism, worship is a part of all ordinary activities of a person's daily life, just like Maya. You integrate it and you live it. In Hasidism, to Zakim, whoever he is, leaders of the Hasidic communities are viewed as what? Intermediaries between what? The people and God. I don't have a problem with that. One bit. If the people understand that and the people are good with that, so be it. Who am I to say it's wrong or they're doing it the wrong way? That's the problem. If it ain't your way, it don't mean it's the wrong way. Okay? So understand that. Now I got one more page of information. This is going to be good. The mysticism of the ancient Egyptian, what we call Paute, and its relationship to the Jewish Sephiroth. Sephirotic, was their concept of the tree of life in the Kabbalah. Okay? So the expressions of the Anuian tree of life in the Shitar philosophy, ancient Egyptian religious concept, expresses the understanding of creation. That's why we're going to start with the creation. Out of the noon, out of that, yeah, as an emanation from that which is subtle, the spirit, unseen. They know Amun is spirit. The spirit will never be seen. It's unseen. It's hidden. Where? Inside you. That's the mystery. Okay, let's go. So when you solve that for yourself, now you can work. The subtle spirit to that which is gross, which is the physical earth. A brief overview of our ancient Egyptian Paute, or company of God, goddesses of creation, provides insight into deeper teachings that may be intimated in the Kabbalic tree mysticism. They seem to have the same philosophy. Watch this. So the Kabbalistic text, the Safra Yisara, is the scripture of cosmology according to them, and the cosmogony that attempts in their way to explain the nature and structure and substance of creation. Everybody got a story. We use animals, we use all kinds of stuff, nature, but the ancient Egyptian creation myths explains the nature of creation as a scripture of cosmology and cosmogony, but the extraordinary feature about the ancient Egyptian creation myth is that it achieves the teachings. The people bought in lock, stock, and barrel, and they was rewarded. They was rewarded. That's why they did it. When you're doing something that's working, you keep doing it. If you start doing something that ain't working, you wonder why it ain't working, because you start doing what was working. Know thyself, work, still do. Not through the use of what? Abstract fears and as a Kabbalism, but through abstract anthropomorphic, and we use the gifts from the animal to express that concept. The Jews, Kabbalism, they use little circles, whatever they want to call them, abstract spheres, but as well as composite, meaning animal and male, zoomorphic, okay, anthropomorphic, zoomorphic realms, and governed by what we knew nature. Cosmic forces symbolized as gods and goddesses, which really principles like Maya. These Neteru represents the natural forces, but as the energies that go to compose the human personality, they breaking the brain down for you, thus allowing you, the participant, to be able to connect from the human to the divine and beyond with this thing we call consciousness, our brain, the mind. In addition, now to the Netarian realms, the system includes the spheres of the psycho-spiritual consciousness, that means the mind, centers of the serpent power kundalini that when you live right, activate it, wakes it up, the serpent that rises. Everybody got a serpent. The serpent is the kundalini serpent, the chakra system, whatever, known as the chakra system, kundalini respectively. It's a philosophy that everybody been practicing since ancient times, and we've been passing down. And even in the Indian mysticism, they got a concept. So the Netarian we call, right thing of philosophy, she taught Netta from ancient Egyptian spirituality, relate to the god and goddesses. Religion express the tree concept of creation of the universe and the human personality through which creation myth is got to be understood with understanding. Netarianism puts forth three important creation myths. Amun, Ra, Ptah. Each god get respect his own rights in three different places. One creation myth was developed in ancient Egypt, the city of Anu. That's what we're talking about right now. That's Anuian. That's the first place. That's represents as the oldest. Other, the ancient Egyptian city, Menfer, okay, that's where Ptah resides, in the ancient city of Waset, and the mystery of ancient Egyptian city Anu from around 5000 BCE are considered to be one of the oldest expositions of ancient Egyptian teachings of creation, meaning religious philosophical concept. It started there. Not in Mesopotamia, not in Babylonia, not in our vernacular nonsense. We got Anu already. Okay, we know about that. Moving on. So, but they formed what they call a foundation, a base for the unfoldment of the teachings of what we call mystical spirituality, which followed in the mysteries of the city of Menfer, through where the god Ptah was the god, and the mysteries of Nu, which is Waset, Thieves, that's where Amun was the god. Again, Amun Ra Ptah. The process of creation is always explained in the form of what we call cosmological system for the better understanding. Cosmology is a branch of philosophy that dealing with the origin process, meaning the beginning, starting with the creation and the structure of the universe. We broke that down with you with the sun, let there be light. You know we needed air, that Shu, tough Newt, represents moisture coming down to nurture the earth, which is Geb, and then we got heaven, Newt stressed over Geb. We had that already laid out. That's nature. That's the universe. We already had laid out. Put it to you in form, gave you individual gods so you can study, understand, and get familiar with. The cosmology, again, astrophysical study of creation and the evolution of the universe. And both of these disciplines are inherent facets of our ancient Egyptian philosophies. Through the main religious system, or what we call Paute, meaning the company of gods, nature, and the goddesses, being male and female, a Paute, or a company of gods and goddesses, is a group of deities. And remember, they God and goddess because they got male and female. Thanks to Maya, you have to have opposites. Male, you got to have female. Moving on. That's what they call the deity. Company of gods. And they're always going to be male and female. But the Paute company of gods is a group of deities from which they have emerged from the one. Outside the one, they don't exist. From the one, they all become part of what's going on. Without him, they don't exist. So they one God emanations. And they all have a role to play. And they also represent what we call cosmic laws of nature. Almost there. Yourself, or the supreme being who manifests creation through these properties and the principles we represent, that we call them the Paute. That's a system of company of God and goddesses of Anu, and it is regarded as the oldest and forms the basis of the Asarian. I'm tired, I ain't going that way. The Asarian trinity of Asar, Aset, and Haru. That's a story of me and you. Okay? And since the Jewish Bible states, and this is their words, the patriarch Moses, okay, that's their dude, right, was a knowledgeable of the teachings of the priesthood of ancient Egypt. It is plausible or possible that the relations between the early Jews and the priests of Anu influenced the development of Judaism in the time period of what we call the first millennium BCE. That's the year 800 BCE to 300 BCE. We were doing this in 5000 BCE. Just to put it in perspective. Let's go. So thus, it would be not a big leap or surprise if there were several fundamental principles that's in Judaism and the Kabbalah system, and consequently the Kabbalism, that would maybe correlate, emulate some of the Anuian doctrines of religious practice, you think? maybe just a little bit. But we may note here what? That the period of the early interactions during the formative years of Judaism is more than 1,500 years before the formulation of the first Kabbalic text. What you mean? However, ancient Egyptian religion was still in practice until the Orthodox Christian religion under the direction of the Catholic Emperor Flavius Theodosius from 347, that's on the other side, CE to 395 CE, decreed that all non-Christian, if only game in town is your game, everybody got to play your game. That's what the Christians did. It's called the Crusade, the Inquisition, where anything that wasn't Christian had to go. Moving on, that sound fair? And so the Christian, any non-Christian religious concepts should be stopped by force and by death. And it proceeded to carry out that decree. They went hunting, looking for anybody or anybody that didn't follow their doctrine to kill them. So, one example of the correlation of this practice from the ancient Egyptians that the Judaism adhered to or practiced to this daily worship to what? To God, Yahweh for them. But the Anuian theurgy prescribes that there should be a threefold worship performed daily. Dawn at sunrise, noon when Ra is at the highest point, and dusk when he's going into sunset. That's how you respect God. That's what God worship is. 3 times a day, rise, high noon, and the cycle of life. The sun goes through the same thing. We mimicking nature. So again, as above, so below. That's the concept. But again, and that's to be practiced by all its initiates. Muslims went to 5. Okay, whatever your philosophy is, I ain't got a problem. Whatever you're doing, but originally it started with 3. All right. So then you have this metaphysical discipline that related to what? God, the sun, Ra. They knew Ra wasn't God, but they knew without him, they got no chance of survival. So they respected it and worshipped it as they should. Okay? In the proper context. But it symbolized what? By the sun. The hidden, Amun, is showing his followers who he is by the sun. And then to bring it home, he's going to institute what? A self-created to become physical human beings. That's us. We're God having a human experience. Like they say, a wave in the ocean, forgetting it's the ocean. Whatever concept you use to break it and explain it, it's all breaking down. I got my philosophy, so I used whatever I could to get you to understand you are one. You and God are one. But you got to be conscious of that. He gave you that to do just that, not to just be a genius or think about. No, know God for yourself. Why? That's the spirit waking up to know who it is so we can go home where it come from. Wrapping it up again. Sorry. Oh Lord, it's still guys. I can't beat the clock. So now, right here. So to the Jewish worshipers, and the admonishment to perform a daily threefold worship program. Where they get that from? Egyptian. So they can say what they want, but it's the proof sometimes in the pudding. That's not the Christian. We just still Haru story. Okay. What'd you do? Oh, we borrowed it. Yeah, that's a new word. They borrowed our knowledge. Okay, borrow. They've been doing it for a long time. All right, but again, I'm going to shut it down. I got too much time. I'll be right back with the Kabbalic Mystic Tree of Life. This is more fun, more information for you. Hope you enjoyed it. I like doing it. So, right thinkers, in closing, may you all live to be 100 miles a day. So I know none of my right thinkers now who understand what we're doing here. The Kabbalic, the ancient Egyptian mysticism of the Tree of Life.